Welcome back to Hamstermind, where we're finally gonna start exploring the puzzles of the Secret Wing. Last time I've only dealt with this shape language panel and we got some new hints from that, but I think now it's time to try and actually solve some things. So let's try with the Scarab gauge first. Oh, we've got a new shape, we've got the spider, and the board is bigger, but we don't have any sort of special things like the scarabs blowing things or spikes. So in theory, a straightforward puzzle. In practice, probably a big mess. So the cobra and the scorpion, they're gonna be blocked. They're gonna have to wait for the spider and the scarab to go into their places first, but we'll see how it works out. We could do the scarab moved in there, but now if we move him down, the cobra will actually get into his exit. So we don't want that. We need to prevent that from happening. I assume there might be a bunch of traps. And we have to be quite careful about how we're moving around. We can get a bunch of things moved around, stacked in corners. So this way we can get the scarab out and the scorpion out. So that's all good. And then the cobra can come out as well. But now the question is, can the spider do it? I think he can. I think if he just goes around this way, he will be able to make it out. Okay, time for the light puzzle. Wow, we're back to just doing the basic puzzles of the game instead of doing light holes or going upside down. Although who knows, that may still happen to us. And I assume the puzzles are harder now. This puzzle only has one entrance, but then there's a lot of disconnected paths on each of the tiles. So we can be moving from place to place. Because it can connect. The light pocket on this one can connect either to the side or down. And where can we make it with that? We can move alongside those corners. That just takes us back to the start. So, thinking about the layout, right? The top tile can only connect with the tile below, with the light on the tile below in this orientation, right? In any other orientation, we are not making the connection, which means it's unlikely that that's how we're getting that light unless we end up getting the light on this tile and then rotating into that tile, which would require us to make it onto the light from this side. Which would work if this is the connection, but again, that first tile would have to be rotated to match that. For this one, again, yes, we would either be coming from the top from that other tile, or it would be this connection, but then the tile on the right needs to be turned with that middle tunnel facing here. Okay, so that gives us access to this light. But, yes, it's the question of how we then get to the other light. Because if it's like this, I have no way out. Then get out like this. Still not quite the orientation I want on it. Okay, we can turn it here, but then we're trapped. There is a lot of winding and unwinding involved here, but there we go. That's the second light. And now I just need to get out of here. There we go. Back at the start and we're out. So that's the first room solved. Okay, and that lets us go further along this line. Or we can visit the other lines. Considering the numbering, I think it's do them alongside each other because it's 1, 2, 3, and I assume this is gonna be 4, 5, and 6. So let's go to 2, called the friendly warm-up. See how friendly it is. 4 stars. No additional like panels, hints or anything, just straight up puzzles. Okay, well, as always, start with the Scarab. Okay, so again, normal puzzle, no special mechanics, but 7 Scarabs, no Scarab exits. So they're just here to block us from reaching the other exits with the correct tiles. So we have to basically get them stuck in the various corners and crevices alongside the bottom. Okay, here we can get the Cobra to the exit. But we still need to get the Scorpion into position without the Scarabs getting in the way. Which we might be stuck here because we can't unwind to the right now. So let's come back to where we got the Cobra in and see if there's a better way. Well, we have to start with going counterclockwise because clockwise is immediate death. And then is the question of where to from here, because getting this Scorpion stuck here might be the mistake, but we'll see. Okay, now he can come out to here. And those Scarabs are lining up there, and now we're back to the Scorpion at the bottom. They're all coming for me. And now we can't go clockwise because it will be the death. Okay, now the Scorpion is trapped in there. Because yes, I'm trying to shift him up. But what is happening instead? All the Scarabs are coming up. Okay, now he gets in. So we're at 37 out of 50. So still a bit to go. And now we've got a 3x3 tile puzzle. We've got jellies, so we've got to deal with them first. But we only have 1 cube. It's next to the orange jelly. The orange jelly, I assume it will be a problem somewhere midway, but obviously the blue is the one that we have to remove in order to get to the light, because that's a clear blocker. Well, we start with this. So we can either go... No, there is no connection. So we're basically forced to go alongside this route. But then is the question of, well, we can't go past the orange jelly, so we have to come out of here. And we're basically forced to go up into the tile we came from. And then we can't remove the orange. We are able to form the connection here. And form the connection here, yes. But now the big thing is making it so that blue jelly can be removed. So we have to get the cube all the way back to the starting tile. To do that, this has to be the connection. Oh no, because we still have options from that tile. Can we even get on that tile that's under this one? Possibly. Let's see. Because we can get down to here. We can get down to here and turn this so it's facing this way. Then we can get into this corner. Yeah, and we can rotate this all the way here. Make a join and stuff like that. So this is possible. And it's probably something we have to utilize. Because the thing is, when we take the cube out, right, we won't be able to cross the orange anymore. But we can push it all the way along here. And because we moved that tile next to us, we can make it to here. So we can pull the cube out. But now we're stuck on this side of it. But we can get to here. Make the connection here, get to this tile. That connects here, we can swap routes. And then we get the light. There we go. And that gives us an exit down from here. Yes, not too bad, this one. Let's see what's in E3. Things are getting serious. 5-star. So for reference, the only previous 5-star we've done was the final challenge, not the final challenge, which was a 3x3 with holes. and we had to arrange the tiles. There are no holes here, but there are 4 lights. In what looks like not a very complicated setup, but it must be, right? It's probably a lot of, again, winding and unwinding to get to the different lights. But before we get to that, a scarab. Now we add a fox to the collection, and another scarab that we don't actually want. Interesting. Because they're all lined up and will come out a specific way. But let's get the scarab maybe trapped somewhere. See if that helps. We can get the fox and the spider going down here. Yeah, we've got little corners that will get us stuck. This way we get the cobra out. Whether that's the right order or not will remain to be seen. The scorpion needs to be up top and the fox needs to be at the bottom. The spider will need help for sure to get to his exit. There needs to be another cube there for him to sit on top. I mean, the same with the scorpion, really. Like, there needs to be a cube. Like, if he swapped with the scarab now, that would align him. It's just have to focus on both sides at the same time, not to fail or not to finish too early. Now the spider is at risk or messing this up for us. But now the scarab got a bit trapped. Okay, now we can get the scorpion out. And then maybe the scarab can be moved down to help the other two. If I spin it the right way. Okay, I can get him down like this. And then all 3 are down there. But now how do we get them in the right order? Okay, this way the fox can come out. But will those 2 themselves be enough to get the spider out? Yes, okay. And he can come out as well. And we're done. 1 scarab more. Time for some light puzzles. 2 lights here in the little corners. So again, we will need to make connections with that. We get 1 tile that has nothing. This can't connect with the corners, so that gets us stuck. Okay, this will get us to the light corner here. And we can connect with this corner, but then there is no other exits. No, this connects to no other tiles. So we once again have to unwind this and find a better position for the other tiles. Like, this would probably be better. But then, again, how we make the connections. If we do this, we can transfer back, but then we would have to unwind this. Okay, now we have that light facing into the middle. So if we can make this join, that's another light. 2 more, both on the same tile. Okay, in order for this to work, this tile will either have to be like this, and I mean, for the bottom light, that would get us the exit, or it will have to be like this. But how can we be on it and leave it like that, right? That would imply we need to have an exit from this top section. Well, from the section I'm now in, we will need to be able to exit while the tile is in the desired orientation. Which can be done if that corner's over there. But right now we can't get through around here. So we have to rearrange the rest of the board to make sense for this. This tile in this corner is quite awkward. So yeah, like we can make it back here, but unless that tile is rotated differently, it's just not working. So how can I do it? Because like obviously this gives us path up or this gives us a path up, but then we're not connecting to go anywhere back from here. So it can connect with the tile above for each of the available slots, but only one of them at a time. And then it makes a connection to the tile on the left at least 2 of the times out of 3. So we will need one of those versions. Like this could lead us to the light at the bottom, which I think will be the last one. So we're probably starting at looking for the connection to the top corner. The question is then how we get to the corner, right? If we try to get in this corner while it's on the top, we can ride down to this light. But then, yes, we can go to the exit, but that's not all of it, right? We still have one light remaining. And that's back to like, how do we position this tile? Because it could be like when it's facing up we get there, but obviously that still requires us to ride up around the corners and stuff like that. But then we would have to be able to leave like this tile like this, which means it cannot be from here. It would have to be driven by that little corner axis, which means we can get there through this, but then if we start spinning here, there is no exit other than like out of the puzzle for us to continue, which means we basically have to unwind here and go back across those tiles. Okay, so from this corner we can ride here, and then we can make a connection here and get the other light and spin ourselves to the exit. Okay. So that's all the initial secret entry rooms done. So now we can go deeper. We've got E4, almost too easy. Well, we got a 3x3 with moving, but as always, well, first thing I'm looking around, is there any extra information, but there isn't, so Scarab it is. Okay, now we're doing teleporters and spikes. Lots of teleporters. And what are the spikes even for? Right, where are we gonna be breaking through? One move here is gonna be like crazy amount of movement, because that scorpion is gonna go through so many things. No, just one for now. So he needs to make it down to orange. I guess the spikes make that ledge disappear. If we go clockwise now, the cobra will exit. Scarab is stuck in blue. The scorpion, it can go through here, but now it will just exit through orange, purple. But actually that works because he can go here. But now we just need to basically send the Scarab on a similar trip, and he can exit. That's 39, so still not quite there for another reward. So instead we're looking at this. So now we have to consider spinning and moving, because this makes a connection to the middle, so it gets us nowhere, right? We're gonna have to be looking at riding in the tiny corners in order to get ourselves to the lights, which means we need to expose them for ourselves to access. Okay, that gets us this light. We need to spin this as well, because otherwise one of the lights is always blocked, or actually 2 lights are blocked, because they're not always even pointing at the accessible tiles. So if we go around this, we can pick up the second light. Now, what access paths do we have to go to other places? We can return through here, but then this doesn't connect to anything. So that's not useful. So we need to spin here to a tile that will get us somewhere. Which this one now also doesn't connect to anything. So we would have to exit through here, but then the lights are not where we want them. So we have to like rearrange a bunch of tiles, try again to spin it somewhere accessible. Because now we can have access here. And again, go around the tiles. Gets us this light. But now we have to find a way to expose that light and get a path to it. So we can't go backwards to get in there to spin it from here. But it's like, if I have an exit, then the light is blocked. So we may have to spin it multiple times. Okay, yes, this light's blocked here, it's blocked here. So actually where... Oh, it's probably all... It's always blocked. We have to move this tile. We have to find a way to make a hole and then make it to this tile so that we can move it to somewhere where it will have room. Okay, so we have to exit to somewhere first. Make some links. We can then make a connection here, although that doesn't solve for a lot. Then it can be exposed there, and we can take this tile up and collect it. Yep. Now we just have to make it out of here. There we go. That's E4 done. Off to what I assume is E5. Where are the light orbs? Well, considering I'm seeing some pony glyphs, I assume they're on the other side. There is a clue in this room. D1 equals 11. Okay, so that's one more for one of the Scarab puzzles. Right, it will go with those clues here, and then there's another clue we had for a previous yellow tablet, yeah, which told us those things about like A1, B120, B1, A12. So we'll have to put all of that together. But for now, I'm just focusing on some rooms to basically gather those clues because I'm gonna need them. And then I can sit down and think about all of the crazy Scarab riddles. For now, a Scarab cage. Okay, now we have those blowy Scarabs. And again, lots of extra tiles we don't want. So we have to get those fox tiles out of the middle. So we can sort of shuffle them, but not enough yet to put the other things in. That will require some more work. Okay, just spinning things around, like got some of them out of the way, but not fully. Need to do more. And I broke it because now the spider and the fox are somehow in the same tile on top of each other. So I think the spider now cannot move anymore. Okay, now it can move. I'm not sure this is a valid way to solve this puzzle considering I had a tile just kicking about, but we'll see. Okay, this way I can get the spider out. And I can get the Scarab. No, I can't because the blowing thing is happening. So potentially another piece has to go first. But it might actually be a problem for me that I got the Scarab in there first. If he's not the next piece that needs to go in. So potentially Scorpion is next, but how do we get him there? Yes, we can do this. The Scarab is out, but yes, the beetles are doing lots of pushing. Okay, that gets the Scorpion in. And now... and now the Scarab is in place where he actually gets in the way. So we need to unwide him out of there still. Okay. That with the blow gets us the Scorpion out into his exit, not interfering with the Cobra. Now the Scarab should be able to get in, we just have to get the foxes out of the way. Yeah, so that's him in, and now we just need to spin the Cobra into there without those pesky foxes annoying us. Okay, Hamstein has something to say, I assume because we're at 40, so we get another outfit. So we're gonna leave the poneglyphs for now and go see what we unlocked. Go see what number it has, because then we can maybe do the Scarab. I'm not sure. I don't think maybe we have to get the question mark door open. Yes. He's just telling us that we have an outfit unlocked. So let's look into that. Yes, the mountains. Tomb Explorer. Oh, I think I can guess who is going to be. Oh, they're not mountains. The triangles. Yes, that is some polygons you have there. But do you have any numbers I can use? Yes, you do. 64. Okay, so now with Lara Croft joining the team, I think we can go and solve one of the Scarab puzzles in the new Scarab room. Because one of them, I think, was just the numbers on the outfits. So it's in the light chamber. Just going to sneak into this corner. And yes, it's the one with the arrows, right? Because it's an arrow is for question mark. And then on the clue we received from the language puzzle, it shows us it's the arrow, but it's the actual outfit icons. And they're in order. Oh, here it's 3 mountains, just to mislead us. But yeah, let's just enter the numbers as I have them. And it's not that. Okay. Curious. Okay, what bothers me about this one is that in the notebooks, there are 3 mountains, right? That's the only icon that's different. Everything else is a match, but here there are 3 mountains, whatever we want to call it. If we look at it like that, we could say that there is 1/2 the amount of mountains that there are on the icon. And so the number is 64. We can get 1/2 of that is 32. And add it up together, we're gonna get 96. So just the ending changes from 64 to 96, and that may work. So in that case, it's 9891 and then 96. Nope, that is also not the answer. But the second detail I've noticed is the moon. Look at the moon. Now look at the moon. The moon is backwards, which means because there were 2 digits, it was 89, it's probably reversed and it's 98. So off to the Scarab room once again, and let's try those numbers. So we have 9 from the hat, 98 reverse moon, 1 from One Piece, 96 is 1.5 times the triangle amount we've had. Does that work? No. There isn't any more detail I can spot where they've done something else. Not sure what else could be wrong here. More thinking required. So now we have to face the poneglyphs. There are no lights because, yes, the lights are in the upside down, all of them. So we will either have to flip them to the top or just collect them in the upside down. But we have to deal with the whole situation of like making connections both sides of the board, which is quite tricky. Like, do we want to start going through the top? It doesn't seem like we can, which means we need to flip. Then we can move on to this tile. Then it does make a connection here, but then we can't have a further connection. On this side is able to connect there. I wonder if we do want to like flip them all upside down. Like, is that the goal? No, one of the lights is not even on a tile. One of the lights is just straight up here in this hall. Can't get the other one that I can see here. On this side we're stuck, we can make no connections. If we flip this tile, we do have some connections. Okay, that will connect to this light. But there's still one more we need. Okay, that gets us nowhere on this side. If we flip this, again, no connections this side, so have to go somewhere else. We can come here. Still trapped. But we can't keep going this way either, so we have to unwind. Can get here again. We have light on this tile, but now it's facing out. But we need to be able to get off here. We can't come back. Okay, so nothing to do with that. We get into this groove. We get no connections here. Or on the top. Get into here, we can unroll to this tile. So that lets us flip around and get this light, okay. One more. So I can get access to this T-junction here, but then I still have to somehow get this light to be facing where I want it to be. But the problem is always like, once I got it where I want it to be, like, how do I get an exit? Like, this tile next to here needs to be facing a different way. So if I turn it like this, then go around. I can get access like this, but then it's no longer doing the light. And have it like this. But now we won't form a connection because we're on the sides while the light is in the middle. Can we do anything with this? Sometimes the camera breaks when you're spinning around too much. We can spin down to here. But again, we're on the sides where we want to be in the middle. Okay, now if we spin here, we can go through the T, get that light. Okay, and then we want to go back here for the exit, except not from this side of the tile, because we want to be in the middle of the tile. Okay, we can make it back to the T-junction, which lets us transfer from being in corners to being in the middle, and we can exit. Okay, that's E5, all complete. Let's take a look at E6. Faster than light. Okay, we've got a lot. We've got a lot of tiles, but first we've got a scarab. No additional clues here, so we're just doing the puzzles. Okay, lots of spikes. We have holes now, right? So things need to stay on their own sides. Let's see, let's see. Again, we have two sides of the board that we have to worry about. The scorpion has to come out from another side. So if we do this, the scarab is in. And we can get the cobra in, but considering it still had spikes on it, I assume there was more to do. But yes, interesting, yes, because the scorpion needs to double break if he wants to go from the side, which means, can it come from underneath? Well, it would need another block to sit on to do that. Same with the fox, like it needs to get some help, because otherwise, yeah, it crashes through, it can't stop for this. So yes, I think multiple steps are needed. The Scorpion especially, like, there's some trickiness going there, because as soon as the Scarab hits its exit, he's gone. So there's potentially the Scarab needs to break through for the Scorpion first. So then the second time Scorpion gets to do that. At the bottom we can get the Cobra in as well. Okay. But now it's the question of will everything else make it? Because we could prop the Fox here, but then the Scorpion will lose spikes, so we want to go here first. That makes the Spider exit, which is all well and good, except the Fox will be stuck now, I think. So we don't want this to happen. Why does the Spider have the spikes? Purely to annoy us, because he will crash through here, and that will be a problem. And also the Scorpion lost the spikes, so that's not it. We return to here. Maybe we don't get the Scarab out to his exit straight away. Although yes, we will have limitation on what we do. Okay, that gets the Cobra out, leaving the other two at the bottom. The Scarab goes out now, because then we can get the Scorpion moving. The Spider is still stuck, so we're not getting him removed. Although here he would have been removed, so we don't want that. This makes the Scorpion go. But yes, now can we shuffle the Fox and the Spider? Or is this a lost cause? Because, right, the Spider exits here, and the Fox will never be able to reach his exit. So there's probably more to consider earlier on. So the big problem I have is, how does the Fox get out? Like, I think I have to start by doing this, but then I still can't, like, unwind like this because the Scorpion's blocking that. So we gotta do this. But I think maybe my mistake was destroying the wall that's one below the Fox. So if we go like this, yeah, then he can get underneath by himself. But first we need to get the Scorpion out. Otherwise he will lose his spikes that he needs to have. And now we can wrap around and the Fox will be out. Okay. Apologies for the puzzle sliding off the screen, but there's nothing I can do about it. There's some bug in the game where it doesn't center properly. Okay, well, time for this. We've got lots of teleporters, 3 lights, and a lot of blocking from turning. So we're mostly looking at teleporter orientation. Can't move this, can't move that, but we can't get to the orange portal. Or we can go to the yellow. Either of those would have gotten us towards the blue, so I guess we go in there. We can turn this to face there. Then 2 lights are accessible from red. Well, not anymore because I turned it, but if I go through here, the blue one, the light blue one, lets us kind of go anywhere we want, because once we exit we'll be able to re-enter it whichever end. So if we go through now, we can get ourselves going towards orange, but going to orange from that side will get us stuck between those 2 cubes at where that are next to the orange, so that's not helpful. We can go towards red, and then we will get this light. So that's step 1. Where else? Purple can get us to pink. We just have to, yeah, we can go through here, we can't enter it, but we have to do some directional changes, I guess. Yeah, currently it's not possible to use the middle pink to exit the other pink, right? Because we would have to be going from the right side, so that's not gonna work, which means the other, we have to get to that tile by other means and flip it. So we can just cross pink for now. Here we will get locked by the dog. Can't move this tile. Interesting. So I think it's possible to lock ourselves in this. So we have to be careful how we go in and out, because now it's like I can go to purple, but I can then only exit towards the pink. I can't go for pink if I exit through the yellow now. This dog longs me, so it's... We have to pay attention to some of the tile, like how we're leaving the tiles, because otherwise we're in trouble. Well, fortunately there is a way to reset the puzzles, but I think this is the first one I've seen, and I may be again wrong, I'm missing something, where it's like possible to get completely stuck. I mean, we could not turn this at the start, just go in. Then we go straight towards blue, and then we can move towards orange. No, that gets us stuck towards orange. We have to go towards red, I think. Maybe we do need to turn this tile. That gets us towards dark blue. But we won't teleport. We will go down towards orange. Then we can get on the dark blue. We can turn like that. That gets us out. That lets us go around here, and if we can leave through orange, we'll be able to cross through to red, but not in a way that lets us collect those lights. We can move one of the boxes. I see boxes are not subject to teleporters, but we can make it so we unlock an extra orientation from orange. So for example, now we can go towards the light blue, which lets us enter red from the top, which will let us get this light. It will also let us turn this toward the pink, although it won't do anything. But we can turn it so that the light is exposed somewhere. Probably this way, because that lets us exit pink. Yellow won't do anything from here. That top light, we can't collect it from red because we can't go up from red. So it was probably something we get through orange. So if we come through here, we can turn this towards orange and exit here. Then we're able to enter this way to orange and collect it. For that last one, we need to turn the tile with the dark blue on it. But then I want to go towards the light blue maybe, because that lets me change directions. So if I go this way, I can walk over purple, I can walk over pink, but I don't want to go through yellow here because that gets me stuck on the dog. I can't get the pink here. But yeah, this needs to stay like this. So did I get myself stuck again? Well, I can still turn this to be able to exit towards purple, so it's not all lost. Although then, in purple, I'm stuck going up and down. Actually, if I go here, then I can go towards light blue and I can change direction. Potentially. Like, I can go towards red, I can go towards orange. Like, ideally, I want to re-enter dark blue, but that requires going up through orange because the yellow, that won't work here. Trying to see what else I can do with those blocks or something. I mean, I can turn this. Let me get past red, then up from red towards the blue. From blue to orange, which is now blocked on the side, which means I can go past it onto the dark blue. That lets me turn that there. And that would let us... Well, I have to still turn pink, so that the light is facing, but I'm thinking about, like, riding the blue tile little notch towards the light that's on the pink, if I can. Doing the yellow again, we can go down, we can go past red. Just which way we want to go. Up through red to light blue. That lets us go towards purple, but we're going across purple to pink. Turn pink this way. Alright, that exposes the light. We can go through the yellow because it is blocked. And we can... Now we want to make it through red down. So if we do this, go through red down, we can ride in the little notch, go across, get the light. Okay, that's all of that. Now we just need to get out of here, which means we need to just get to yellow, up through blue now. I can go up through yellow, then back down to yellow, and now I can spin myself out. There we go. 3 of E6. That unlocks those 3 rooms. Let's just have a look at them, if there are extra clues in them or just more puzzles. Okay, we have clockwork navigation in E7. Lots of lasers, lots of jellies, no further clues. There's only one light here, but hard to get. We've got E8. Okay, more teleporter-based stuff. This is a 6-star puzzle. But again, no clues in the room. And E9. Welcome to hell. Don't make a single mistake, says the achievement. Well, yeah. This is, the lights are in between the tiles, and we're gonna have to be moving to get to there. But what I spy in here is another little block. Yes, owl lady game example. Lots of tiles with A and B's. Word A1, word B1 must be aligned. And yes, somehow, all of that will form a 6-digit number to open one of the scarabs. So this is what I was looking for, but it's not everything. Apparently there is still one yellow clue we're missing. I assume it therefore might be in the final room that we get after solving those 3 I just looked at. But I think I will save this for next time. So before we leave it for today, let's have a try at this panel. Like, at least see if we can do one to confirm that everything we have learned is actually applying still. This is quite a complex one. There is 4 squares and 4 lines, that's easy to see, but there is a lot of shapes applied, like multiple ones. There are 2 stars, both a filled star and an empty star. So we have to find the shapes which they are applying to. Then there's empty circles and a filled circle, but obviously they could flip. But there will probably be a filled circle somewhere, which will mean we're gonna have to count a lot of intersections. So it's going to be a complex one. And the more complicated they get, the easier it is to make a mistake and then not know which one is the mistake, right? Because across 8 shapes, anything could be wrong. So as for applying the stars, counting the intersections from the empty star, I've got them in red here. There are actually 3 separate shapes at 4 junctions away. So 3 shapes that will turn from empty to filled. And for the filled star, I've got 4 separate shapes that are 6 junctions away and therefore will be flipped from filled to empty. So in this case, yeah, we've mostly flipping triangles. But yes, the circle that starts open becomes closed over here, and then the circle on the square that starts closed will become open. So if we apply all of that onto those shapes, this is what I think is the final form of it, right? Like, I've filled in the shapes that need to be filled, and I've erased the shapes that I think need to be empty. I've done a count of where I think the filled circle will get its number from. So there are 24 intersections in total in the whole shape. And this is the longest path I could find to another shape. It skips 3 of the intersections. That gives us 21. So yes, I think it goes from this circle to all the way around to the triangle at the top. Don't mind the fills here, they are not correct for the final shape of the puzzle. So with that in mind, the top left square has 2 arrows on it. One of those arrows is flipped from filled to empty, which means it has instructions on it to be left and down. It won't have any numbers, it just has positional instructions. Then the line in the top middle with the 3 arrows. 2 of them have flipped, so we have an arrow that says not left and right, but yes top. So it wants to be up here in the middle. Again, no numbers, it's fine. The square in the top right it is flipped the arrow so that it says not bottom. Not bottom can be anywhere on the top or middle, so we will leave it for now just because some of the other ones might have more restrictions. The square on the bottom right, it has two arrows that are open and stay open. It wants to be top right, so here. And the circle has flipped from close to open, so it just wants to count intersection, so it has two intersections with the two lines. The line at the bottom, it just wants to be at the bottom. Again, no counting for it. The line on the left wants to be on the right, and it wants to count intersections twice. So we can put it on the right here, and it wants to count intersection twice, so the number is 4 because it intersects with two squares. So then the line that's on the right side, the top triangle's filled, the right triangle is actually empty now. So that means not on top, but yes on the right. So it can be here. And the number on it, we think it's 21. That leaves us with two more squares, the top right and bottom left, because they didn't have too many instructions. So the top right, it just wants to be not at the bottom. That's the only thing that care about, it's no number. And the bottom left, it literally has nothing. The star, it affects other shapes, but it doesn't have a meaning here. So we should be able to just place it anywhere. And that works. Okay. So I think all my rules are correct. The only difficulty now becomes having to wade through, count the intersections, figure out what gets applied where, then how does it spread across the board. So that's a fun one. And then when it doesn't work, having to figure out where is the mistake. Because by now, I think there is enough complexity to say I wouldn't have gotten through it unless the rules are right. So I think that's settled. So here again, there's both an open and closed star, lots of shapes. I'm hoping lots of those closed circles are going to go away. When it comes to where the stars apply, from the open stars, we go 1, 2, 3, 4 junctions is the closest open shape. So both this circle becomes filled and this triangle becomes filled. For the closed star, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here and 5 here, which means all of those shapes becomes empty and both those shapes become empty. That leaves us with 2 filled circles. Definitely my least favorite of the shapes, but at least we've eliminated some other ones. So the filled circle that starts filled on this semicircle, the furthest I got for it is 9 if we go all the way to the filled star. And for the circle on the S shape that became filled, the furthest I got on it is also to the filled star, which is 6, going just all down to the square and around it. So at least there is less intersections on this shape. So the semicircle top left, closed triangle, so not left. And then I counted 9 for it from the closed circle to the closed star as the furthest shape. The line going across it doesn't have a position and the circle becomes open. It has 2 intersections. So potentially it can be up here, 2 intersections. The S shape, the arrow is flipped. So now it wants to be on the right side. And the circle became closed where I've counted 6 to the furthest shape, which is also the closed star. The line crossing the bottom loop of the S shape has a closed circle that became open, so it wants to just be anywhere, and it has 2 intersections. The semicircle attached to it, both the shapes became open, so it wants to be on the right again. We may need to move some stuff because I can already see how it doesn't fit. This line, it doesn't need to be there, so we can move it to this side, give it 2. So then the semicircle moves here. Count intersection, there is 1. And it's on the right. The line at the bottom, the arrow to the right became filled, so it wants to be not on the right, but at the bottom. And that's it, no counting for it. And then the square, the arrows remain open, so bottom right, and it has no counting, so it's fine. Yes. that works. And then things get worse. Things get so much worse. So I think I'm going to leave it here. Everyone should now know all the rules, so if you want a little homework, you can work through this shape yourselves, and then next time when I come back, we can check our answers together. And of course, I will be going through, I assume, are the last rooms of the pyramid, right? The last 3 rooms, I've already taken a look at them, and then whatever's in the big chamber at the end, I assume finally we will defeat Sharon and get our treasure chest and our wish. So it will probably be the final video then as well. Oh, and of course I have to do the Scarab riddles. So I have some of the clues, but obviously solving this panel will give me the last set of clues. So we'll have to think about that then. But until then, let me know in the comments how you're doing with those puzzles yourself. Are you joining in? Are you feeling like, wow, this is deep and complicated? And if you enjoyed this one, consider liking or subscribing. Thank you to channel members for supporting the channel, and I will see you soon on another adventure.